What's good? It's Woog. Damn, I didn't think Ryan Garcia was going to do it that easily. He just stopped Javier-Fortuna in the 6th round after dropping him 3 times, pretty much dominating just about every moment of that fight. I mean, there were a couple times Javier-Fortuna tried to come in and throw a big overhand, but, we knew that there was like a few inch height advantage for Ryan Garcia, but just the way that the fight played out, Garcia's ability to just take the step back whenever Fortuna would take the step forward, but also his consistency in throwing the right hand lead just made for all types of insurmountable obstacles for Fortuna, where it almost seemed like he would have needed like a ladder or trampoline to get to Ryan Garcia. So Garcia is able to throw these right hand leads, like he'll throw once, and everything that he throws is a splashing punch. He's a gifted puncher with both hands. It's not just that devastating left hook that he could throw up top, or now we know. I mean, we saw him do it against Luke Campbell and in some of his early fights, but that left hand to the body is a thing of beauty. Like, he's able to get so much leverage without leaning too much. Like, and it's so quick, his release, his ability to just quickly, reflexively throw the left hook like it's ingrained in him already. But you couple that punch with, his jab and then throwing the right hand leads that were kind of splashing against Fortuna as well. Whoa, this was just a nightmare of a fight for Fortuna. And, I'm surprised that he made it 6. Like, the way that this fight was going, like, early. And Ryan Garcia did start off somewhat patient, but he was coming in, behind a jab. But then the way that he started just switching to throwing these leads, and then he was just, I thought he was getting a little too left hook happy in the first round, but it's like, if there's no consequence to throwing it, just let it go. And even if Fortuna had it partially blocked, there is still something landing. And also, when Fortuna starts to block it up top, that's what started creating some of the opportunities for Garcia to then throw the left hook low, which was the first punch to drop Fortuna. I wasn't sure if he was going to get up for that from that first one. But man, just like the confidence level, the poise, like Ryan Garcia had no problems against Fortuna. Nobody does that to Fortuna. We've seen him lose a couple times, but to get dominated throughout the entire fight and then stop, not in the late rounds, but in the middle rounds, this was very, very impressive. And I think that, it's one of those things where anytime you have a super promising young fighter, especially one that looks like Ryan Garcia, you're going to have skeptics, right? I was a skeptic around the time that he was having that difficult fight versus Carlos Morales. But, fight over fight, a fighter does what they need to do to basically silence all the naysayers, right? And so obviously when he beat and stopped Luke Campbell, that shut X amount of people up. Even before that, when he knocked Duno out in the first round, that shut some people up. And then the way that he just flawlessly handled Javier Fortuna and then stopped him, yeah, that's going to buy him that much more credibility, where it's like, hey, you can say what you want about what you think about him as a person, or just whatever non-boxing related opinion you have of Ryan Garcia. Think whatever you want to think. This guy is dangerous, and I think that we can all agree on that. This was not a competitive fight. And again, I'm just impressed by the speed that he throws that right hand lead, because he throws it in a way where he's not selling out footwork wise, and he's not necessarily putting himself in terrible range. Even though, I was watching this fight like with my folks, with my family. My dad kept on saying, I can't believe Fortuna's letting Ryan Garcia get away with that. Just getting away with throwing one right hand lead after another without jumping in and trying to throw something on top of that. I mean, Fortuna, again, did attempt a few times to throw something big over the top. He kind of throw like a looping haymaker like punch. But for the most part, yeah, he was letting Ryan Garcia get away with throwing that right hand lead. And I think that it was out of fear of getting caught with the check left hook. It's like, okay, if I then jump in, is Ryan Garcia just trying to bait me with that right hand lead? So then I make a move, so then he makes the finishing move. Maybe there was some of that going on. But Ryan Garcia, again, he had no problems with Javier Fortuna. There wasn't much that he had to worry about because of his ability in this fight to control the distance, to control the spacing. He did so masterfully. And yes, Javier Fortuna is now 33 years old, so his legs aren't as agile as they would have been like in his mid to late 20s. But still, I don't think that even those who thought Ryan Garcia was going to win this, Did we all think that he was going to win every round en route to getting a mid-round stoppage? Did we think that he was going to have any difficulty with him? Because he didn't in this case. And look, I thought this was going to actually go to a decision. I thought that Fortuna was going to get spooked like Emmanuel Tego did in the early to middle rounds and then start fighting more of a survivalist fight. But Ryan Garcia's pursuit ended up giving Fortuna no option but to kind of, Fortuna was trying to move around the perimeter, and then he would move this way, then move this way. But Ryan Garcia was cutting the ring off pretty well. And then he would catch Fortuna in a scenario where Fortuna, is putting his hands up or throws a couple punches, then puts his hands up, and then Garcia lets a 3-4 punch combination go. Where again, even if you have some of these punches partially blocked, there is some madness getting through those gloves. There is, whether it's up top or down low. And wherever Garcia is going to land, he is going to hurt. So obviously the next question after, this easy destruction of Javier Fortuna. And again, I don't use that word very often, easy. Like, he made this look easy. So after this destruction, 6-round knockout of Javier Fortuna, the question is Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia going to happen next? I would assume that most fans are going to say no. I'm going to probably put a poll out there and just see what you guys think about the likelihood of Tank versus Ryan Garcia being next. Of course, the boxing world would love it, but the way that the politics work, it seems like it's going to be a mountain that's, you can't call it unscalable, but the parties have to be willing to scale it, to come together to make it happen. And I hear, Showtime's Steven Espinosa saying that, this isn't a big enough fight to be a co-promoted, 2-platform promoted pay-per-view affair. And that type of language makes it sound like it's Showtime or bust for that side. And if that's the case, well, we know that Golden Boy is not going to remove Ryan from DAZN entirely for the biggest fight in Ryan Garcia's career and just run over to Showtime for a one-off. It's going to have to be a co-promoted something, because neither network or streaming platform or, just whatever entity that the promoter is beholden to, I don't see either one of them just backing down and saying, yeah, go ahead and have it for a payoff fee. But who knows? Maybe if the payoff fee is high enough. But again, that then circles back to the question, is there enough total money in the fight to where everybody could be paid off to where everybody is happy with the arrangement? I don't know. But they better find a way to work on it and to make it happen, because I think that the boxing world is crying out for this showdown between these two devastating punchers, Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. Very different styles. Like, Garcia is a better boxer than advertised. Yes, he is potentially vulnerable. I mean, what boxer isn't? Gervonta Davis is, right? But both of these guys could end the fight at any time. And, the bad blood, the difference in height, just the different dynamics between the two fighters make it so compelling, where even if you think, for instance, that Gervonta Davis is going to win, which I'd imagine that more than 50%, I would think, of the boxing public would favor Gervonta Davis. But even those who favor Gervonta Davis have to acknowledge that, hey, he might win, but this is going to be a dangerous fight for him. So I just hope that it gets made. Yes, Ryan Garcia versus Jojo Diaz might be an interesting fight. Jojo Diaz is a good quality fighter, but that's just one of those things where you just have to kind of get yourself excited about it, because what you really want, what we all really want, is Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis. And yes, of course, if they make Davis versus Lomachenko, I don't think you'd get a lot of complaining. But I don't think that's going to happen either, right? So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But this was a very impressive showing from Ryan Garcia. And it really justified the lopsided betting odds. I saw Ryan Garcia going off as a 6-1 favorite. I thought that was kind of disrespectful to Javier Fortuna. But, Ryan Garcia's performance justified those types of odds. And yeah, he's better than we thought, I think. I mean, we obviously knew that he had the devastating punching power, but I think that his boxing skills are getting better, and this is now his second fight under the tutelage of Joe Goosen. So yeah, stay tuned. The future is potentially super bright, and he's already achieving, boxing star status. I mean, he was pretty much famous before he was very, very good, and or at least accomplished as a professional. But yeah, this is just kind of heightening the anticipation for that potential Davis versus Garcia showdown. So yeah, let's stay tuned and hopefully we get good news and not bad news. But yeah, let me know what you think of this, again, easy destruction of Javier-Fortuna at the hands of Ryan Garcia. This was a badass performance. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.